Friday, June the 6th, 2014, and because it's Friday, it's time for...
The best of... Yeah, it is.
I thought you weren't going to sing and act like a monkey.
That was yesterday.
Oh, okay.
It's
all
different.
Right.
It's Friday.
It's a different day.
It's Friday.
Are you ready to swing? Are you ready to hit the girls in the party swing?
Well, that's... What? What are you...
Sorry.
What do you do in your spare time?
A lot.
Weirdos. We're here to talk to you today about the best of in 8-bit and 16-bit gaming. Please ignore the weirdo to my right. Oh my god, so it's the best of. We give you our 5 best of.
It is 8-bit and 16-bit, but all of my games are actually 8-bit. They're all NES games.
And all of mine but one are 16-bit games.
Right.
And we both seem to have left the Genesis completely out of this.
Well, I will say my honorable mention probably is Sonic the Hedgehog, just because I played the crap out of that game growing up.
My honorable mention was actually going to be Aladdin on Sega Genesis, because it was the best Disney game of ever, and I still go back and play to this day.
Now, I'm going to kick things off.
All right.
And the first game is, and you're going to laugh at me because I'm going to say Super Mario Brothers. Oh. And I'm talking the original one. I like Super Mario Brothers. And the reason I liked it is because, A, it was the first game I ever played on the NES because it's the one that came in the box.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
It and Duck Hunt.
Back in 1985, it was on one cartridge. God, it's hard finding one of those nowadays.
I still have mine, actually. I have my Duck Hunt.
It is hard to find a single Mario Duck Hunt cartridge. Back in the day, it was hard to find a double.
Yeah, you'll have to blow on it to get it to play. But
you got to do that anyways.
Again, not just because it was the first game I ever played, because it was just...
It's Mario.
It's Mario. It was just really, and then, I remember the first time I found the warp in level 2, the underground thing.
Level 1, 2, and you go to the end, it's the warp zone.
So, I can't say enough about it, except for the water levels. Screw the water levels.
You got to do water levels, man. They're a necessary evil.
They are a necessary evil. But Super Mario Brothers is the first thing on my list, and it's just fun, and I died so many times playing that game.
Well, here's the fun for you. My first game is Super Mario Brothers 3.
Now, you'll notice that we played both Super Mario Brothers, but we missed one.
Well, it's because 2 technically wasn't a Super Mario Brothers game.
It was bad.
In Japan, it was called Doki Doki Panic. Had absolutely nothing to do with Mario. They decided that it wouldn't sell in the States under the name Doki Doki Panic because that was a Japanese television cartoon at the time. So when they brought it over here, they replaced all the sprites with Mario. And that's how we ended up with Mario 2, which is technically not an official Mario title.
It was poopy.
So, with Mario 3, the thing about that is I love it, and it's the first big game-changing game for me because it added a map. It added inventory that you could keep.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you want to talk about warp pipes?
The magic flute.
Warp whistles!
That's right. And it had its own movie. What? The Wizard.
Oh, wow, that's true. And I actually own a copy. I own a copy of The Wizard with Fred Savage in it.
Yeah.
And the Power Glove.
The Power Glove.
It's so bad.
My friend Andy growing up had a Power Glove.
And it's worthless.
It was
I have one in my closet. It is the biggest piece. Now, the idea of the Power Glove that you would be able to do this and control your car.
It didn't work.
That doesn't work at all.
You would basically just hold the controller and do this.
Yeah, you were doing.
You had a controller,
which is
on
why
your
are
wrist.
you do? This is it was the worst, most terrible thing ever since Rob the Robot. Okay, so what was your second one?
I agree though, Super Mario Bros. 3. That was a fun game for me too, and I actually went back.
It was
and
a
forth.
turning point in Nintendo for me. And it led to my favorite Mario Brothers game of all time, which is not on my list, but it's Super Mario World.
Oh yeah,
which is the one for Super Nintendo, and it's amazing.
It's a good game. And that, I guess, was your only 8-bit game too then. So
that was my only 8-bit
So my
game.
next one is Dragon Warrior, and no one remembers this game.
No,
there were 4 of them. I owned all 4 of them.
I absolutely don't remember any of this.
Dragon Warrior was like a poor man's Zelda. That's the best way I'm going to explain this. But I had a ton of fun with this game. It was just a hack and slash version of Zelda.
Okay.
And it had enough gameplay because you got to play. I mean, literally, it actually had more hours of gameplay for me than Zelda did, and that's why I liked it. And so when I say, and I actually include all 4 in this, but they were all 8-bit, they were all NES, and Dragon Warrior 1 to 4, they were awesome. So just you get to sword fighting.
Well, my second one is also kind of based on something. Okay. It was a hack and slash version, kind of Secret of Mana. I mean, Secret of Mana was a hack and slash at the time, but this was kind of the opposite of that, and I think it got a lot less time because of that. It's called Secret of Evermore.
I don't know this.
And it was a fantastic game. It's about a kid who breaks into this mansion after chasing after his dog. They go into a time machine that had previously blew up in the 50s that sent people into different dimensions. And as he goes into the different dimensions, everything's changing through time as you go. You go through a prehistoric jungle. You fight dinosaurs. You go through a crazy medieval knights area that's also like a crazy chessboard. Okay. All sorts of cool stuff. And it's got one of the most amazing storylines I've ever come across as far as a Super Nintendo game goes, and the graphics are beautiful.
Nice.
It was very known because it had bosses on a huge scale. The first boss literally takes up the entire back of your screen, which is unheard of at that point in time, which was probably 93, 94.
Wow. Yeah. Nice. I've never played that game.
It's amazing.
So my next game actually is The Legend of Zelda.
All right.
And I mean
the original, not two, right?
Right. The original gold Legend. I actually had the gold copy, Mm-hmm. Like, it was so pretty with gold.
If you bought one of the first runs of this, it does come in it came in a gold cartridge. Yeah.
And I still have it. It's in a box downstairs.
And the funny thing is you can buy those on eBay like they're going out of style, and everybody will make it like it's not even like, oh my God, they're so expensive. If you go into a store, the store will try and charge you like $200 for the gold cartridge. You can buy it for $40 on the internet.
Yeah. I don't know, what were $20? Is that what the games cost when I bought them? Yeah, so. But mine's original. And it's Zelda. It's Zelda. I mean, I still wear my Triforce shirt. I love Zelda. I mean, it's dun, 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 dun. There you go.
Anyways,
it's Zelda. I mean, what can I say?
Well,
Link is the man.
It's funny that you mentioned that because my third game is Zelda: A Link to the Past. It's Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. It was the Super Nintendo. It is the
SNES
best.
Good SNES Zelda.
It is the best. I don't care what anybody says. It is the best Zelda game ever have come across. And if you say Ocarina of Time, we will meet in a parking lot somewhere, and I will fight you. That's all I'm gonna say about it.
All right.
Hit me up. Say it to my face. Not when you're not on the internet. Back it up. And stop. I'll drop it like it's hot. Whatever. That's right, Zelda on the SNES.
It was good.
Link to the Past.
It was good. I like it.
Best one, my favorite, and it was the first Zelda game I ever beat.
I like
so
it.
huge nostalgic factor for me.
So my next one is the original Gauntlet for the NES.
Oh man, Red Warrior Hungry.
Here.
It was some serious old school. It was an arcade port.
It was an arcade port.
It was one of the first arcade ports the NES saw, as far as I know.
And it had, as far as I know, no ending.
No, I don't think it did. I think it just kind of...
And here's how I found out it had no ending. So Gauntlet was one of the first games, because there were so many levels, it was one of the first games that had save codes.
Yep.
Where you could, you come back later and you could start
type
playing
the code in and yeah.
Well, I, as a young kid, learned how to code break. And I created saved codes for Gauntlet, and just to see how far we could go. And we got like to level 300 and something before.
Yeah, I don't think there was an end. It just kind of random. It just kind of randomized the levels.
They
for whatever space. Yeah, I was gonna say for whatever space there was on the actual the RAM card.
128K.
I know exactly.
But yeah, I mean, so that's because of the code breaking. That was the first game I ever code braked. I did a code break on. That's why it's on my list. And
so you were your own personal built-in Game Genie. Oh, I went there.
Yeah, oh God, Game Genie. Wow, I forgot about
little
Game
pro
Genie.
Action replay codes.
Yes, yeah. No,
wow.
I did. I learned a code break. My friend,
pretty awesome.
My friend
well, back in the day, each one of those two that it was. If you notice, back in the day, passwords were always an even sequence of numbers or letters. And the reason it was is because each two of those, there was usually a number and a letter, or a number or letter. Each segment of those had something to do with one of the stats or the level or anything like that.
And what I did is because
you get one that worked and look at everything, and then you just kind of figure it out.
Well, I was writing them down, and I kept writing the new ones down. I never threw the ones away, and I just looked at them one day. I was like,
starting to notice patterns.
I did. I noticed the pattern. And I started creating them. I started creating my own safe codes.
It works that way.
Yeah.
All right. So the one that I have, the next one to follow up with that is Super Metroid.
I love the whole Metroid franchise.
Which started the entire Metroidvania line. And if it wasn't for Super Metroid, we wouldn't have one of your favorite games of all time, which is Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Right. And the only reason it's not on this list is because that's a PlayStation game.
That is a PlayStation game.
So.
And the biggest thing for me about Super Metroid, other than it starting an entire genre of games, was it was the first game that gave you a huge giant map and was like, all right, well, just kind of go figure it out because we're not helping you. And you could screw yourself in that game.
Hard.
If you got into the wrong area that you couldn't get out of or that didn't have the stuff.
There's a reset button on the front.
Yeah, pretty much just start over because there's no fixing that. It was a very unforgiving game, but it kept you coming back for more.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I can still play that game to this day.
I love the whole Metroid line.
And it's phenomenal. So what's your last one? What's your Big Daddy? What's your Big Daddy game?
It's not the Big Daddy game. But no one has ever heard of this game either.
Okay.
The Magic of Scheherazade.
Never heard of that.
I know.
Is that some kind of GURP?
It basically was a poor man's Final Fantasy.
Oh, okay.
It went by a different name in Japan when it was on the Famicom. It was like...
Why, was that too hard for them to pronounce? Was it too...
Yeah. I don't...
Scheherazade.
Well, because... Yeah. And I don't remember the name now. Arabian something, okay. I think. But essentially, and I say it's a poor man's
Final
Fantasy because it was a turn-based game. You had companions that you would add
your party.
That you could swap out in and out, and you collected them or found them along your way. And I also learned how to code break on. It had a 50-digit password.
Oh, that's painful.
And... what made me learn how to code break on this one was I fat-fingered, or I wrote down a code wrong. And I was in the world, there's 5 worlds. I was in the 5th world.
So you were not giving up with this code. You were going to figure it out.
I was so mad.
You were determined.
I mean, and it's like, invalid. Like, son of a... After the 4th time, it said, it looks like you have a safe code for the 5th world, but you're having trouble. Would you like us to put you in the 5th world with a blah, 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 like a click? And it did. It put me in the 5th world. Actually had a companion I hadn't found in the 4th world already. I was like, oh, sweet. So then I start looking at my codes. And I'm like, all right, so So I code break the crap out of that game.
That's pretty awesome.
But it was so much fun. For me, it was more fun than Final Fantasy because it just... Probably because I played it first. I played this... this was before Final Fantasy. And it was the first really... role-playing game that I ever played on a console, and I just fell in love with this game. I think you'd like it, actually.
Well, that's actually what I was going to say. This, for me, this is my Big Daddy.
Yeah.
If you had to make me pick any game to play that was on the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, or Genesis for the rest of my life, it's always going to come down to Final Fantasy VI. And it's a terrible, terrible thing that they never made another Final Fantasy after that. With that said, Final Fantasy VI was the longest. 3. It was the longest game. Well, 3 is 6.
Yeah.
See, they called it 6 in Japan because it was 6 for them. It was 3 to us.
Yeah.
And it's the one with Magitech, and you've got Locke and Kefka and all of them. Now, the biggest thing for this was it used the TurboGrafx chip in the Super Nintendo to emulate 3D and moving objects.
Yeah.
And to be fair, for back in the day
what
graphics,
it's amazing.
When I put this game in, my little child mind was blown.
Yeah.
I was stomping around this crazy Iceland and a mech, and I'm a prisoner, and I'm this chick with green hair, and I'd raise crazy animals. I don't even know how to explain the game to you other than the fact that it is over 50 hours of gameplay and was the longest game with the most stuff to do, even compared to 7.
Well,
for,
and that was
an 8
why
and 16
that's
bit game.
why I liked my
There's just tons of
Magic
stuff.
Scheherazade game. Same reason. There was 50, 60 hours of gameplay in that.
It also has one of the best storylines I've ever played, period.
Yeah.
And it has the best score.
It did have
It did
have a good score.
Symphony of the Night.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean.
It truncates Symphony of the Night for me.
Not me.
But Symphony of the Night's like second.
Not me.
So.
No.
Second for me. So those those are my 5. You know, like that's
I love that game.
I know. He's gonna go play it tonight.
You guys don't understand. I bought a PSP just so I can play that game on a handheld.
And he's never played anything else on that PSP.
I haven't. I won't.
We found it somewhere in his office, like a code. Oh, hey, look what I bought this for. Yeah, I bought it to play. What do you think I bought it to play? I'd be like, you bought it to play Symphony of the Night, didn't you? He's like, yeah. It was in there.
Yeah. I actually have other games because it came with a
don't.
couple. I never played them, but it came with a couple. So.
Well, I think that wraps it up for this week.
It does.
Make sure to come back on Monday. We will be doing the live stream event for E3. We'll be doing the live blog for that. I will be here, probably getting a little bit of and watching
and I'll
it
stop
and reporting to you guys. Yeah, and
I'll come
Steve
and
will be here saying hey. And
it is my house.
We'll be doing that whole shebang. Other than that, make sure to follow us on Facebook.
Like us on Facebook. Follow us on there.
Yeah, subscribe to us on YouTube.
Absolutely,
please.
do that.
If you have a YouTube account, please do it.
Please.
Good Lord.
And send us your thoughts. What kind of best of would you like to see us do?
We're down to do it, whatever best ofs. Hell, send us your own best of lists.
Send us your best of.
We'll read your stuff out.
Or
I got no problems.
Better yet, do your best of in a 36 to 60 second video
Send
format.
it in, we'll put you in the show.
We'll put you in the show.
Boom. Just did that. Other than that, that's all for That's Stupid Podcast this week.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think we got anything. It's done. Let's go home.